Step into the ring, it's Monday Night Fire. My rhymes burn hotter than a funeral pyre. I'm the heavyweight champ, you can call me sire. Reviewing raw like a southern rap messiah. Crossing over lines like I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. Flipping opponents like I'm Randy Orton. Dirty South flow, my words they be costing. Every verse I drop got them head nodding. Spit lyrical punches like a ruthless fighter. Got the crowd hype, I'm the crowd igniter. Breaking down the raw matches, no denier. Dirty style rap, I'm the Monday Night Supplier.
Welcome, window lickers, chaos goblins, grun's friends. Maybe you're a toy Grun used to hang out with, and he threw you away like Andy.
What the
Now
hell?
you're in the
old
closet.
Run Tildas. Shout out Banjo Kazooie.
Oh,
What is up, team? How goes it? How are you doing? This is a fun way to come into a show. How was your guys' week, Grun? Tell us how you've been.
my week's been good. Trying to figure out what the hell's going on with the Eagles and going to the White House or whatever.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
Drama
said no.
there, but what else is new? But other than that, Elimination Chamber this Saturday, and then
Yes.
NXT Roadblock is next Saturday. So we got a lot
Beautiful.
going up. A lot going
We
on.
do.
Yeah.
We really do. And let's say this, though. The Eagles made the most patriotic thing they could possibly do. They used their making a choice. They were
That's true.
able to make a choice. They said they didn't want to go. End of story. There we go. We move on.
Honestly, that's how it should be. It shouldn't be
Yeah.
these sensationalized headlines. It's like okay, you have a choice to do this. Yes or no. This is
They
America.
chose not to.
Yes or no.
Yeah.
They chose no. It's over.
I completely agree with that. The only thing is, I'm getting no. They're going. They're not going. They're going. They're not going. They're going. They're
That's
not
true.
going.
That's fair.
It's like
Yeah.
I'd like to just know. That's it. That's it. Whatever choice they make.
I like it.
Makes sense to me.
Exercising freedom of choice, like Kevin Calloway said. And speaking of Kevin Calloway, let's talk to Kevin Calloway. How have you been, my friend? You're fresh off a Frontline Pro weekend.
I am.
let's hear about it.
Didn't catch the victory. I was too busy. I may have gotten sidetracked brawling around with Sam Eli. I can't imagine he's done with me, unfortunately, and I'm not done with him because you can't cost me a match like that, brawl me out of the ring, and not get some comeuppance. So whenever that crosses paths again, we'll handle that. But otherwise, the Frontline Pro weekend was really, really good. And I'm like this close. They released 2 Dynasty Warriors games, and I platinumed the first one, 120 hours platinum trophy for Origins. They released another one called Warriors Abyss, and I'm 4 trophies from platinuming that now. So
Jeez.
I'm on a Warriors kick.
It
Oh,
sounds
man.
like it.
waiting
It
for
sounds like
Monster
it.
Hunter to come out this weekend.
Oh.
Damn. And we also have Nick Teodoro jumping in, and he's saying, I'm going to throw off your stuff tonight. Well, go ahead and try, Nick. We welcome all challenges.
Literally
here.
in my name, the chaos here. So
Exactly. So Kevin welcomes it open arms. Well, as a group, we've have our inside baseball stuff moving along. So we had a pretty productive weekend on that, getting that out there. That video will be sent to you, Kevin, so you can be a little more into what I'm talking about.
Sure.
But outside of that, guys, video game world is I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I mean, I cannot complain about the free downloads I'm getting from the Xbox store, having the Game Pass going in there.
yeah, they're really
checking
becoming.
out.
They were trying to become the Netflix of gaming, and I think it's really starting to come about. They're not really caring that much about keeping exclusives now, but
Yeah.
they're caring about making sure they make the amount of money that they can and be the premier streaming service. And boy, that's working well.
Oh, it is, because I'm on my second season of being the Chicago Bears on the newest Madden,
Nice.
and it's
Nice.
done through all cloud gaming, and I enjoy that. I truly do.
It's to a point that now that I have this new computer, like I have to think about, a Game Pass, because I believe it comes on to PC too,
Yes,
where you can
Yes.
get the Game Pass onto that.
Very
So,
easily
like-
accessible through PC.
Why not?
exactly.
Exactly.
I like it. Grun, you down with this this new Netflix version of gaming?
I've had an Xbox Live account or a Game Pass on and off. And it like part of it is sometimes they don't always have games that I want to play or would be playing all the time. So it's like I appreciate it. I'm glad it's there. I'm probably not always gonna have it. I may get it again down the line. But right now I've been enjoying Steam and playing some Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Oh yeah. You were telling us about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do know that I hear a lot of your rival battles through the Lose Network. And
Yeah.
speaking of people we know, we got the boss himself chiming in. What's up, fellas?
What up?
He's been playing FC 25.
I've been on and off
lately.
of that too. I do the Ultimate Team. I'm sure Con does the same.
Awesome. See, I love this community. We got so many gamers, we got so many wrestling fans, and it all just blends into one show.
It really does.
You gotta love it. You gotta
Oh,
love it. So before we dive into business, guys, is there anything we need to get out of the way? Do you guys have anything on the game front that you're looking forward to? Any movies, anything? So we can dive into it.
Elden Ring Night Rain is coming out later this year, not too few months down the line. I think it's a really good way if you're not into Soulsborne games. Take a try. It's a very fast-paced, short experience that would introduce you to what Elden Ring and the Souls series is.
I feel it's
Okay.
a good one too, because it's basically a roguelike. And for those unfamiliar
Yes.
with what a roguelike is, it's basically you die, you do one run, you die inevitably, and then you power it up long term so that your character is better for the next run, and you keep going until you beat the game.
Yes.
It's a very rewarding system. That's actually what Warriors Abyss is as well. It's a roguelike.
Next.
Okay.
And those kinds of games are incredible, and it's a great way, especially if it's within a universe with the same play style, a really good way to get into them. I will be playing Night Rain. It'll probably be, I have Souls games, but I never really got into them. I felt like I was going to, and then I never had the time to actually get good at them. That was
Yeah,
the problem.
Yeah,
Like,
that's part
innate,
of it.
I never had any innate like good skill with it, which is very uncommon with video games in me. So
Yeah.
I didn't ever have the time to really invest in I have to make sure even the smallest of enemies, I understand them absolutely to a T. Otherwise I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So I would always go to another game instead. But I played Elden Ring a little bit on my friend's rig. I loved it. I'll probably end up playing Night Rain, especially because it's multiplayer, which is also a first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Elden Ring. It always takes me back to, the very first Xbox console and
Oh,
having
yeah.
friends come over and having Halo parties. So I always go back to those times. Great stuff, though. I mean, we got
I
some
know.
great video games.
Oh, yeah.
getting
Well,
ready to jump.
there's one that comes out this week that I've been waiting for a better part of 6 months.
Ooh.
And that's Monster Hunter Wilds.
You were mentioning
on
that earlier.
Friday,
Yeah.
and getting together with like 3 of my old high school friends. We call it assembling the 4 families.
Ooh, I
We all
like it.
get together, and it's
Alright,
kind of like
alright.
having an old school LAN party with your buddies, except we don't have to LAN. We just do it online. We just have our own screens.
Yeah, I know.
So
I love that.
Now that we're
Very
older
nice.
and some of us have money, not me. They have houses with basements that we can get this stuff going.
That's awesome. I absolutely love that. And it sounds like you have a blast with some friends doing
do.
shit you guys love.
It's good to get away from everything for a little bit sometimes.
Exactly. Exactly. And it seems like wrestling and video games go hand in hand with creating that much needed distraction from all the insanity out there in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm there with everybody. Grun, you good? You ready to get into this?
I'm good. I'm ready to go. Are you ready to go?
Grun.
Good,
I
'cause
was
you're going.
born- Yeah. Well,
You ready to go? Good, because you're going.
hey fans, Kevin's the older brother of this group, and he lets us know what's happening. So we're getting ready to go. Speaking of that, Grun,
Yes.
why don't we hear what you have behind those blue eyes of villainous, and let's hear what you got to talk about.
Well, you know what? I want to talk about one of the biggest stories going into Elimination Chamber that's not actually involving the Elimination Chamber. It is involving two Canadians that have been like brothers forever. And I gotta ask, like, is WWE do they know what they're doing with calling the match unsanctioned? And is this match going to lead to a WrestleMania rubber match?
So in the sense of a rubber match, they've had this would be their first match in this series of stuff.
Yeah, I did realize I used
That's
the
okay.
wrong
I
word.
just wanted to clear up the terminology. in my
Yeah.
head.
No, yeah.
I don't know. It feels unsanctioned matches feel so final when it comes to booking that it's tough for me to say unequivocally that this leads to a WrestleMania match. But that being said, like, these are two guys that you want featured on your WrestleMania card. So I lean towards yes, in that it's going to lead to a WrestleMania match. But my question then becomes, how do we top it? Because you're starting with unsanctioned. Like, are they going to do a legitimate ladder war between Sammy and Owens for something? Or like where are we going? Because we have to go higher than unsanctioned, and unsanctioned is already up here.
Yeah.
Like ideas, maybe last man standing. I could see that.
So
That's the first one that comes to my
Yeah.
head, because I don't think you want to do a Hell in a Cell.
See, now that's where
Okay.
Grun was going.
yeah, because the Lou mentioned that Hell in a Cell might be the match to do at WrestleMania, but I mean, yeah, like unsanctioned, if we're going by AEW standards, unsanctioned really does mean anything can happen and get really bloody, really look like a war. And Sammy and Kevin, they are not unfamiliar going to war with each other.
No, and on top of that, Sammy's going in hurt.
Yeah.
So you know, if you're leading to a WrestleMania match, Sammy can't go over,
No.
which means Kevin's going to go too far. And that's probably how you set up your match at WrestleMania. That's like the legitimate way to book it.
Mm-hmm. So I can definitely see that. At the same time, I proposed, what if that's not how it ends, but Sammy doesn't win? It's ended because neither man can continue. They just call the match off. So while it is unsanctioned, the WWE call off the match because Kevin and Sammy can't go anymore. That causes them to go for WrestleMania.
That makes sense. Can I address this Lou comment? Because I don't disagree.
Yes.
So here's my thing with Hell in a Cell and them. And it's not their fault. It would fit their rivalry. It really would cap it off, and they could go this way. So I'm not saying it's a thing that couldn't happen. But the most bitter rivalry we saw all of last year was CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. How did that end?
Hell in a Cell.
And they have to be more vicious than them, and they used a goddamn toolbox to split open Drew McIntyre's head. So going the route of Hell in a Cell. See, I Quit match I don't hate.
No, I think
I Quit match, but taking the I Quit match so far that it like they have to get the end of Kevin Owens where he quits. Like Kevin Owens essentially has to go, fine, I quit. If they take an I quit match far enough, I think that's a really good way to do it.
Okay. I absolutely, you're like you're making the fanboy in me just ready for WrestleMania right now. But I will say, Grun, you were there yesterday. We were discussing this exact thing. How do we get there? How do we get to an ultimate WrestleMania match? And I went out on a limb. First off, House threw out one of the best ideas that we've heard in a while. And then I took it a step further because we have to, because of this rivalry. And plus what other greats have done in the past. Just like you brought up, Kevin, the last Hell in a Cell we had was magnificent. If you are a guy, a woman, and a fan of wrestling, and you sat there and watched that, and it made your heart hurt for them, you gasped, you did that, they did their job, and that's what you love about Hell in a Cell. How do we get that emotion without putting a cell around these guys? And I think since we're going to be in the hometown, just like House alluded to, you have Sammy's wife and Sammy's kid there. Match goes to where neither one can continue. But for some reason, Kevin Owens gets that little bit of energy and he pulls in Sammy's family. And then somehow, Kevin had a pair of handcuffs after he put down the boots, as House put it, to Sammy. Kevin, he handcuffs him to the ropes. Now, this is where House said he would go for the wife, get the kid out of the ring, make sure the kid's safe, kid's going back, pick up the wife, pile driver, package pile driver, boom, right in front of Sammy. I say, no. We've seen that. Wives have been able to take bumps. But what if Kevin grabs the child and gets ready to initiate this, and security has to stop him? I mean,
I was about to say, we can't have a child.
No. The child never takes the bump.
Okay, all right.
But because of the closeness off the camera that they have, we could assume that Kevin Owens is like an uncle to this child. So this child would feel comfortable with Kevin Owens at least getting the child to look like, all we need him to do is have the child near him and him give the look to the crowd. And then security swarms him and they stop it. And then the wife, you know what? Let's do it this way. The wife negotiates with Kevin, says, yes, Kevin. Okay, fine. And they leave with Kevin Owens. And now they're with Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn has to go to the hospital by himself. Nobody there, no family members. They're after this lunatic who's abducted the family. Yes, I'm taking some pages out of the Raven Sandman book, but I think we can take pages out of that book. And I think this feud warrants that, because we have to go to that limit to where we say Kevin Owens has gone too far.
I don't disagree. I just don't think they're going to involve the kid. I think that's the key. Because what I've seen in the past,
right.
And I don't,
you're probably right.
I can't stress enough, what you're saying would work. It would definitely work. That being said, so cuffing the kid actually is safer, and that's easier to do.
But that's so the imagery of you cuffing a child is so disturbing.
So
it is.
I do think they involve his wife, though, because they are in Canada. Now, to what extent, I'm not sure. They could probably go a couple ways. I doubt they'll go with pile driving the wife. I'll be honest. I just don't see it, because, and the reason why is because if they're not going to do intergender matches with a lot of that kind of violence, they're probably not going to want to pile drive a woman on screen. And that's more of a sponsor thing than it is anything else. Would it be effective? 1,000%. But what they could do, they could bring the wife into it. You speak of handcuffs. They could handcuff the wife so that she can't stop or plead with Owens as Owens goes too far on Zayn. This could be package pile drivers on chairs, multiple package pile drivers, like just absolutely ape shit insane on Sami Zayn. Leave him laying. He's gone for 3 weeks. They have time. This shit's already built itself.
True.
So now, because we have 6 weeks in between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania, roughly, maybe more like 5 weeks. And you don't want Sami and Kevin, if they're going to be that heated, to both be alive on that show, like alive, so to speak. You want one of them taken out because it's too hot of an angle where they want to hurt each other so bad. Why would they wait in a locker room? They would just be attacking each other for 6 weeks, just willy-nilly in a parking lot. Like one of them drives up and all of a sudden it's a brawl.
Yeah.
So if you take one of them out for 3 to 4 weeks, it doesn't ice the feud because Kevin Owens can still go around and gloat. You can keep reminding people. He can keep going too far on some other people that you don't really care to keep on TV. Maybe you have a one-off. Maybe you need someone written off. Like, it works. Then you have Sami come back to stop him from going too far on somebody and more important. And then there's where your WrestleMania goes from there. And I like the idea of an I Quit match. A first blood match wouldn't be bad, but those are always risky, especially at the big stage of Mania.
Yeah, first blood matches, there's always that chance you get hit just right.
That's the problem.
Yeah. I would want to address, before we move on, I want to address this comment from Nick. Yeah, I'm not trying to bring it to a cuckold storyline. I understand that that's instantly where minds go with this, but what I'm describing is, let's say we have a video package of Kevin Owens just talking, and then all of a sudden he kind of steps away from the camera, and there's a dinner table. Let's say Sami's wife and child are there, and Kevin brings a plate to the child, and the child's like, I don't like macaroni and cheese. And Kevin Owens loses it, throws a bowl of macaroni and cheese around the world. I'm not saying a whole, like, he replaces the family, but I am saying a Hannibal Lecter type deviantness to it, to where he's got them held hostage until whatever match is agreed upon. That's where my mind is going. I'm not doing this. I don't know. That word, I guess, just kind of got to me a little bit, like, because that's not what I'm trying to convey.
Because in a cuckold scenarios is more like essentially stealing the family or doing something with them in front of it. But it's not that. It's more like a kidnapping angle from what you described.
It's holding,
and that would be something different. I again don't think they'll go the route of kidnapping because it's crime.
No, they won't.
They don't tend to do that. But I can't stress enough. The angle would work as long as
it would work.
It would. It would give Kevin Owens Randy Orton level of heat from his prime. I personally love it. I think the sponsors need to understand that this type of entertainment can get ridiculous and crazy on any day. And at the same time, like, I understand that they have that not all their customers are aware of our world and would think, oh my God, they're endorsing kidnapping and all these horrible things.
I just don't know how long you get away with it and keep the kayfabe. So, like, if you want, I think you don't have it where he kidnaps them. I think you have it where he intimidates them for 1 week. Maybe he shows up at the residence and that's what he does. He just is like maniacally sinister around them, very threatening aura without actually doing anything. Like very like borderline an abusive aura, but Sami can't get there because he made the town. Does that make sense? I think you could get away doing that because it's only 1 week that you got to write it for.
Exactly. And I understand. Yeah. I mean, that makes more logical sense of how to actually go about, like, the sinister way I'm seeing Kevin Owens turn in this.
Oh, and he definitely needs to find new ways to go too far. So I don't
Yeah,
disagree.
but that's exactly where I'm at. Like, but I this is what I fucking love about the fact that at Grun we have Kevin here on our show. He reins me in and he gives us that professional aspect of it. Yes, would it be fun? But yes, logically we have to go within the world of what's actually going to work
But
for
we
a
need
broad
people
audience.
ideas that are just like out there, because if we have the ideas that are there, we can pare them down to do good business. Like we need people who have ideas, and then we need people that can be like, hey, that's good, but
Yeah. No, I like it. I really think that Raven Sandman storyline, that was a definite way to grab attention.
Oh,
And I
1000%.
think with WWE's production value and where they're at now, I just think you could almost make that a mini movie and it would hit so hard for these two. But I do understand the reins need to be pulled back. So we got everybody going a little wild here in the chat. Nah, let that Stockholm syndrome story play out. That's our brother in arms out there, Hypocrisy Jones.
What up, Jones?
I love Chat Chiefs coming in. Picture Eddie Guerrero Dom at the park.
Oh yeah,
Very
actually,
true.
yeah.
Very
You
true.
could take a lot of stuff from the old Eddie Guerrero angle, where he was fighting for the custody of Dom.
Very true. Yeah. I mean, and it was excellent. It was excellent. And then we have the number one fan of the Window Lickers, Ken, under the weather, but still here supporting my bearded friends. We appreciate it, Ken. We can count on you like missing weather here in Indiana by meteorologists. So yeah, but if I go by their predictions, I should be under 3 feet of snow by now and shoveling myself out. But that did not happen. We're actually getting nice weather this week. It was very nice so far.
Don't
Oh.
jinx it.
And where's
It got
I'm
up to
not
50
gonna.
degrees today.
Don't worry, we'll be fine, Grun. You're all the way over there in PA. You got to fan yourself here. Just let Uncle Daddy Kevin in charge. All right, so let's move on to the Chaos Goblin himself. What do you have in the mix for us to discuss on this Raw preview show, Kevin Calloway?
So I was racking my brain trying to figure out some scenarios where we can make these titles work at Mania. And I think there's options, but I wanted to open it up to the class for a general discussion. Right now, it feels like the women's Intercontinental and US title have kind of taken a back seat. And I'd like to see them both realistically get a Mania match, but I just don't see a lot of avenues to get there in the time that we have, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how can we get them going again? Because right now it feels like both titles have kind of stagnated. Not because of the people holding them, but because it feels like they introduced them right at the kickoff of Mania season, and it's done them a huge disservice. Mm-hmm. Because if they had introduced them in the summer, they'd have had some nice time to get them over. So I guess in looking at this, I'll wait for my predictions on Rhea Ripley's match because I have one, and that comes later. But looking at the top women that we have going into Mania that won't have matches, what are some top women that we can pair up with these mid-card titles so that we can make them feel more relevant, either by them taking those titles so that they add a little bit of relevance to them because of their star power, or by having the current title holders continue to hold them so that they have more star power by beating someone who is meaningful. Because right now they really, I don't think either of them have really beaten someone who's truly like super meaningful in big match scenarios. And I'm not saying they haven't had good matches, but it's just the people, it's how the other people have been built.
Yeah. No, I completely see what you're saying on this one. We actually had a similar, real small discussion on this involving one female that is back. And I think Trish putting one of those titles on her and letting her have a run up till WrestleMania I think that could definitely benefit that title, that specific area, especially if it's Chelsea Green's the US, right?
Chelsea
Yeah.
Green is US on SmackDown, and it looks like Trish is mostly on SmackDown. So that would
See,
line up.
I would love something with those two, and then Chelsea win it back at Mania.
Yeah,
Why not?
that would make sense to me.
And that, to
I
me,
don't
that
hate
gives you your star power, and that's just an out the gate. I could see how you could do it potentially there.
When in Trish's returns, did she ever win the women's tag titles by chance?
I think she did briefly.
Because that would be an interesting feud, because you could build it around Trish being the first Grand Slam champion. Or not Grand Slam, Triple Crown champion for a woman. There was no such thing as a Triple Crown for a woman until these belts were introduced. Like there's
Exactly.
And Lyra Valkyria hasn't won a world title, so she's not going to get it first.
No.
Or didn't get it first, rather. And Chelsea Green, that was her first. No, that was her second title. She won the women's tag titles, I believe.
Yes.
But she needs a world title in order to be a Triple Crown. So that means anyone who is a world title holder and a WWE women's tag title holder, the Triple Crown is up for grabs to be the first ever.
Real quick, Trish has not won
Okay.
the tag titles.
Okay. Thank you for looking that up.
Okay.
Yeah. She did help Becky Lynch and Lita win them, but
that's what it was.
Yeah.
I knew she was involved.
Gotcha.
Something there.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't build it around that for Trish then, but it's still a good, meaningful feud for Chelsea Green going into Mania season. I don't know how much they're keeping her around or what the new deal looks like for her, but Nikki Bella isn't the worst to put there, because that gives her something to do that's meaningful, and you go forward there. It's not about Trish winning the title, Jones. It's about her doing the job for the person who has it. And I don't know if you want to switch back to switching to Dakota at this point. I don't think makes sense. And the reason I say that is because you had your chance. You had your chance with everyone behind her. I don't think you switch it back to Dakota now. You give her time so that you can build her back up to it.
Ooh, I like this. And I like what you were saying too. But I like this. I think at some point Michin needs to have a title, but it has to have meaning. And being the second of, okay. I'm glad we're on the page with that
I don't know if I want her a second title holder though. Again, I think it's the same scenario. You had your chance to put it on Michin and she could have been first. She was in the finals with Chelsea Green. So if you had your chance there, you have to let it cool off for a little bit before you actually put the title on him. I do want to see Michin have that title by the end of the year. That's what I'll say.
Okay. No, I can get with that.
But I think you want someone in between, and you have Michin beat them. Or you have Michin, and if you want Dakota Kai to win this, I want Dakota Kai to keep losing until she doesn't. I want her to keep trying to get this title until she does. Because she's one that people were so behind that I think she's almost more over because she didn't win. It was one of those business plans that people were like, oh, but it should have been Dakota. You see so many people online. You see so many people saying, oh, it should have been Dakota. Oh, it should have been Dakota. Why Lyra? They're manufacturing it so that you get so behind Dakota winning this that it's going to work. It's just going to take time.
Our fucking Bruzy coming in. You can get with this or you can get with that. You better get with this because this is where it's at. What's up? What's up, Bruzy? Thank you for chiming in. We're just talking a little.
Thanks, R-Truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Grun, where are you on this with what Kevin's out here bringing to the class's attention?
Well, so we recently saw something that suggests that Becky Lynch might not return to WWE. However, I also thought, was just thinking now that what if that was placed to make it a surprise when Becky does return over the next couple weeks, and attacks Lyra out of the gate, no entrance, just runs out of the crowd and attacks her. You got your WrestleMania opponent. You give Lyra someone to beat, someone big, and as far as the U.S. women's title, it has definitely been looking like they have been going with Michin being the one to dethrone Chelsea, but at the same time, like I think you guys are making a really good point that someone. I love Chelsea. I think she's one of the best things going for WWE right now.
I agree.
However, you made a very good point that Chelsea and Lyra, they need to beat someone meaningful. And neither of them have really beat anyone meaningful. So I mean, like, I don't hate the idea of Nikki Bella or Trish Stratus being the ones to challenge either of them, but I think it's at a point where they would need to wrestle at least a few times to remind fans, oh, these are top women. These are two of the women that are the best to ever do it. So they're going to come after the IC or US women's titles. They need to reestablish their dominance.
Are you speaking specifically as Trish and Nikki?
If it's Trish and Nikki, yes.
Sure. Absolutely. And I think you can do that because Trish has a match at Elimination Chamber. So that helps there as far as Trish goes. Nikki, yes.
Oh, I was just going to say real quick to get to Jones asking, has Lyra and Becky,
yes,
has it happened?
I think that happened in NXT.
Yes, Halloween Havoc 2023, they had a match.
I think it's more about establishing current and them holding it, like Lyra holding that title, this title specifically. But having history doesn't hurt.
No.
I think Trish you can establish in the tag match. Nikki, I agree, you would need her to go on there and just start wrecking some women because you need to reestablish that she can still do the thing. But I think there's plenty of women that you can sacrifice at the altar of the Nikki Bella so that she can get over either as a heel or a face, probably better as a heel because I don't think there's as many people behind her. So why not make her that heel that you're going to hate? Because she has ready-made heel heat with many facets of wrestling fans simply because she comes from the Divas era and she was like a model hire. So you can use that against people who are in the internet community, and then you just teach the casual fan what you want. I think like Nikki's a good choice. Think of it as the same as like using Logan Paul. Everyone already hated Logan Paul. So you just use it against him.
That's true. That's true. Jones, I see what you're saying here, but I think Trish is more valuable. You can get that out of Charlotte and Tiffany without inserting Trish into that.
I think it muddies the water if Trish is there.
Yeah. So and honestly, here's another reason why I say Trish should win the United States Championship for the women's division, because then it would be two Canadians who have won it before any American has won it. And I think you could keep that going because then you have Michin take it off Trish. And then so you could continue it for a minute.
Yeah.
And that would be
it's just all Canadians. And then you finally have actually that's not bad because then you can use that for a story. If you have Canadians just hold the title for a year or a year plus, then you have whoever you want as your first American to win the US title. Really do a pro-America angle.
Ivory Nile right there. Just that's how you get her pushed into the man. We're just out here making things happen.
I do like the idea of bringing back Mandy Rose. She was great, honestly. Near the end of her run, I love it.
Penta beats Chelsea. Underground. I like it.
It was a good match. It was a good match.
Want Nikki a Johnny Ace hire due to looks?
Yes, it's the one of the models.
Oh yeah.
I think it was one of the models hired during the Divas era, something along those lines. Yeah, and I agree with that too. You can really
Yeah.
push America and Canada butting heads recently.
And
So yeah, it's ready made.
yeah, you're making money. You're
Mhm.
making money.
You're leaving money on the table if you don't.
And we don't want to do that, Kevin.
No,
You
we
taught
don't
us
leave money on
very, very well never to leave money on the table. All right. So let's jump into Elimination Chamber. We're getting into it. We're about 20 minutes outside of Raw going live on Netflix. And this is the last Raw before the Elimination Chamber. So let's see where Kevin's mind is at on this Elimination Chamber. Me and Grun will give our
Flex this
opinions
big
on
brain.
some things. Yes. We'll give our opinions on some things, but if you really want our low down opinions, we gave a beautiful segment on the last half of the In Your House Sunday house party, which I honestly want to say is one of our best works for a podcast before a big pay-per-view or a PLE. Sorry, everybody, didn't mean to trigger you. But yeah, so Kevin, let's hear what your thoughts are going into Elimination Chamber, and then when you give your thoughts, I want you to answer this question:
Mhm.
Is Elimination Chamber meaningful?
Okay, I'm gonna go down the card for my predictions. We mostly hit the Sammy Owens one, so I'll just leave it at Kevin Owens is going to win by some going too far means.
Okay, that works.
And then let's see here. I'm going to leave the Rock Cody prediction for last because that involves more other stuff.
Okay.
As far as the women's tag match, Nia Jax, Candice LeRae, Trish Stratus, Tiffany Stratton, it feels like it's there to me. It feels like it's there to give the faces a win because we are probably getting two. We might not get two heels because the men's chamber could go a lot of ways. But we're probably going to get a heel win in the women's chamber because Rhea needs an opponent. So if you want to go through this, you have two heels go over, you have one face go over, and that's your tag match. I'm going to say that Tiffany and Trish take it to keep Tiffany strong going into Mania. I'm sure Charlotte will be involved afterwards. I don't know what capacity. It could literally just be pointing at Tiffany and going, "Hey, you got through that, but I'm next." I don't know. Again, we spitballed a lot for Trish. I don't know where you go from here. I don't know if it's a one-off because you're just in Toronto. She might not stick around. But as far as Trish goes, getting a nice hometown victory, I think is smart. Now to the Elimination Chamber. This is where it gets froggy.
Jones, I was there with you on this one. Only if she's doing a run. If she's doing a run,
she might eat an L, but it would have to be because of Charlotte. Nia Jax and Candice LeRae are not winning that clean. There's no way. It's going to have to be because of Charlotte. And that's only if you're planning Trish versus Nia at Mania, which you could. Otherwise, there's no business in it. There's absolutely zero business in it, in fact. They could go that route, though. So I don't disagree that she could. Tiffany ain't getting pinned. That's what I can tell you.
No, that ain't happening.
Women's match. So this can go a lot of ways with a lot of different things happening. Right now, my assumption is that Roxanne Perez will win. That's my assumption. I think they're really going to look to push her going forward. I don't know if she wins at Mania, but they have a lot of faith in her. And there's a good way to do it. And it's to have her be one of the women's main events at Mania. Win or lose, she now is in the upper echelon of women. It just doesn't
all
matter.
Smiles on this one.
What?
Grun was just smiling ear to ear.
I picked Roxanne.
Yeah.
That's who we picked for the win.
I think it makes the most sense. There's really I don't see another option that's better. I just don't. I think here is where you're going to start to see the cracks form for Bianca and Naomi. I think that story is going to play out a little bit. Liv Morgan, I'm not sure how she factors in. She might just be one of the conniving ones who just gets attacked and just beat. I think she's just going to be one of the ones that it's not going to be much of a story built for her, but she just eats the L, and that's enough to build her story with Judgment Day. Alexa Bliss is a bit of a wild card to me.
She is.
I don't think she wins. In fact, I think she's one of the lowest chances to win. But the wild card aspect to her is where they're going with her story-wise. Are we going to get Wyatt 6 teases during the match? I think that's my question. Because you could tease that during the match without it really killing anything. And I think that would be interesting. So my prediction is that we'll get some kind of like, it might not be anything big. It might just be a Wyatt 6 like screen blur or whatever, where they just like, you've done it or whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking carnival music. I don't know. Just something to tell you, oh, the Wyatt 6 are watching. I think that will happen during the chamber for Alexa Bliss. I don't think Bayley has anything meaningful in this match. In fact, I think it's more likely that Bayley ends up, if we're really looking at someone to beat, Bayley can challenge Lyra at WrestleMania, and that would be a meaningful win for Lyra. Because if you beat Bayley, that's at least something.
Yeah.
So women's chamber, too long didn't read. Bianca and Naomi are going to start showing cracks. But Roxanne Perez ends up winning. Might even take advantage of the Bianca and Naomi thing. That would make sense to me. I think you want to keep, unfortunately, one of your first matches was Roxanne and Raquel Rodriguez, which was 2 heels. So I don't like that booking because we had to cheer for Roxanne because you didn't want to cheer for Raquel. So you really need to establish her as a heel again. Otherwise it doesn't really work.
I think they got enough time to be able to do something like that though. Yeah,
I do. Men's match. I think it goes one of 2 ways, but I guess I'll tie this in with the Rock and Cody because it kind of goes hand in hand to me. I've been talking about and racking my brain for the 2 people who make the most sense in this match to be Rock's champion.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 that make the most sense to me are either John Cena or CM Punk. Those are the 2 that make the most sense to me. John Cena is, I think, the better story, but it depends on the business they want to do with Cena for the whole entire year. We're talking merch sales. We're talking everything. Because if you turn him heel in this way, those merch sales aren't going to be there anymore.
Yeah. And
just
little
aren't.
hearts like Grunz will be broken.
Well, in fairness, this is also his path to the 17th title.
It is.
Because if he becomes Rock's champion, and I remember the press conference he did after Royal Rumble, he said, me winning my 17th title is what's best for business. And that's a line that stuck with me when The Rock came out and did his promo.
Mm-hmm.
Because now he's looking at business. Now their goals are aligned. So in my fantasy booking way, I think John Cena would be the most interesting that way, but I don't know what business you want to do. It depends on if you want Cena booed in his last year, which personally, I don't think they do. I think they want him to have a cool send-off, not a heel run. So with that in mind, I think it's Punk. And the reason I think it's Punk, is because he wants the Mania main event and he'll do anything to get it.
Yeah.
And I think that plays in better that way than jeopardizing Cena final run as a face. It also sets up that Cena can take the title off of Punk later, who have storied histories. So, and there's also a route, and I think this would be fun, but this involves too many moving pieces, and I doubt they'll go this way. You can also go the route of Cena winning the Elimination Chamber, but he isn't Rock's champion. CM Punk is. But The Rock is the owner of the company. And he just inserts CM Punk into that match, and now it's a triple threat.
These are great. I love this.
There are so many options. There's a lot of people that aren't going to win that men's chamber. Drew ain't going to win. Damian Priest ain't going to win. Seth Rollins ain't go win. They got too much other business on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Paul could win, but I
That was
doubt it.
my pick.
I doubt it. I just don't think he's seasoned enough to face Cody in the main event. It's just they're not going to risk that.
You're probably right. He's my dark horse in this one.
That I
and
can see. That makes sense. I
and
think
I
it goes
just-
to either Punk or Cena. It depends on what business they want to do. I think that's the key.
Jones, I want to bring this up real quick.
Sure.
If you go back and listen to the house party, there is a discussion. I actually persuade House in going with Bianca as the winner, and we lay it out very well in that one. So go check that one out. What we're doing here is we're since we're meeting up with Kevin, we're just getting his takes on it, and then we're going off of that. So that's where we're at with that. So go ahead.
I don't disagree. In fairness, Jones, I don't disagree that that's one of the bigger matches they can go with. It just depends on if they want to go with a big marquee match of stars that they already have, or they want to build up a new one, because Roxanne is going to be a big star for them going forward, and establishing her early is always very important when they come up from NXT.
I like it. I like your picks. Solid picks. Some good thought behind it. That's the best. We got the Lou chiming in. He's saying my prediction is Cena wins the Chamber, is set to face Cody, but Heyman's favor is to get Punk into the main event with that match starting the heel turn.
I think it makes more sense just because Heyman's so attached to Roman.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to go the route of him cashing in the favor, it should be to be in a triple threat with Roman and Rollins, because he already hates Rollins.
Yeah.
And it can cause tension between them just because he's inserting himself in there.
Yeah. And Jones is chiming in saying, I still think Cena wins Money in the Bank later in the year. I mean, that's always definitely a possibility. And that's far enough down the road to where you could play the him not getting the wins and then all of a sudden getting in a match like that and getting that opportunity, getting his win.
He can call his shot that he is going to get the match at the end of his contract as well if you do Money in the Bank. So I think that's an interesting way to go about it. I don't know if that's the way they'll go, but it is an interesting way.
It is.
I think it would also be interesting with whoever, just to not to take too much more time because I know we're running short, but if you have the Money in the Bank winner screw Cena out of winning the title, like he inserts himself like Rollins does during a match, like Rollins did at Mania, and becomes a triple threat, that person walks out with the title, not Cena. I think that's also a really, really good way to go.
Yeah. And outside of reading in between the lines of what he was saying for storylines, in this, I think that we have come to a era in which it does make the most sense to give John Cena this record, and to maybe move a little forward past the others, just to see there's just something new about it. And I think that there's more to be gained with John Cena having that title, that record.
I think he's a good poster boy for business, because
that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
I'm not trying to defame a legend, but Ric Flair has a lot of controversies around him. So it's better business for a company to have someone who's squeakier cleaner, who does all those Make-A-Wishes. Like, that's the person.
Yeah.
So I think it is the right thing for business for him to win this. He's not lying.
Yeah. And it's right. I mean, we just, it's just time. It's time. Time. That's where we go. So we are, fans, 6 minutes outside of exactly what we've been talking about. Monday Night Raw out there on Netflix. Grunmeister, my Pennsylvania friend, my blue-eyed villain, the guy I would beat up a squirrel for. Where can the fans catch you, and where can they see those blue eyes of villainous?
Well, you can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Grunmeister, where every Friday I do my SmackDown preview review show at 7 p.m. Eastern, reviewing previous week's SmackDown and talking about that night's SmackDown.
Beautiful. Go check him out. It's a fun time over there in Grun's room. And then when you're done with that, hey, Chaos Goblin, what do you got going on? Where are you going to be at? What are you doing?
Not a whole lot this week, relaxing and recouping, but you can always follow me at Callaway Kevin on Instagram or on Facebook, Kevin Callaway. And I get up to some things every so often. And, I have some thoughts sometimes. There's old promos to watch. They get your mind going. I swear one of these days we're going to line it up now that I have this new computer and new Dear Pro Wrestlings are going to get recorded. And we're going to have those pumping back out once we get everything together, settle on a rescheduling. And now that I have a computer that I can actually do things with that won't break.
Yes, that's one of the most important things.
That was really one of the biggest driving things, that is just like, I got to wake up this crappy computer for 30 minutes before I can even tape this show.
Well, we are glad you are in the new world of technology.
Yeah.
And Bruzy, thank you for stopping in and doing.
Thanks everyone for stopping in.
Yes, thank you all. You guys are great fans. We truly enjoy it. And if you're looking to catch more of the voice, Joshua Joseph out there, it's here Mondays, 7 p.m. I'm here with my friends Kevin Callaway and the blue-eyed villain himself, Grunmeister. Come in, check us out, see what we have to say about Raw. You've seen it. If you were here, you've seen how we interact with the fans. We love the fact that you're in here giving us your opinions, and we keep doing this, man. So keep coming. Fridays, join me in house. We get extreme with ECW watch-alongs. Right now we're in some ECW hardcore rearranging. We're about to switch storylines up on you. So come join us on Friday and see what we have in store for you. Outside of that, I do a little thing every once in a while with a friend of mine, Viking Storm and Luna. We talk conspiracies at sea, and there's been some wild ones lately. We've had a Freemason on. Go check that one out. That one was a great one. Some really interesting things thrown out in that one. And you definitely see me, the voice, be pretty much told there's no Santa Claus. So you get to see that disappointment. So it's fun. Go join that one. And then on Sunday, the last thing you could see me doing is a house party. It's the In Your House party on a Sunday brunch. You can come in, hang out. It's usually around 12 o'clock. It's lunchtime. Come, enjoy, eat your grilled cheese, make your tomato soup, and listen to what we have to say. It usually involves anybody who's in your house, who's around and ready to talk wrestling. So come join us. Come join Kevin. Come join Grunmeister. Go out and enjoy Annie O'Neill and House, because they do the Raw deal with House and O'Neill. That's usually on a Wednesday. And they fact check the bejesus out of us. So go check that out. That's always a great time. And fans, we absolutely adore you and cannot wait to see you next Monday when we have all this chaos, all this villainous, and, well, pretty much the voice. So we will catch you on the next one.
Step into the ring, it's Monday Night Fire. My rhymes burn hotter than a funeral pyre. I'm the heavyweight champ, you can call me sire. Reviewing Raw